James is in the room. Okay, so I'm excited about bringing James in. I've known James for quite some time now. We've been on set a few times together, and I've been watching his work for quite some time, and it's only gotten that much better. It's kind of epic what you've been doing, brother. So I'm super excited to talk to you and check in on you. So I want to quickly read you guys his bio, and then I'm going to bring him into the room. And make sure you guys, throughout the conversation, if you guys have any questions, please ask them in the question box. I mean, keep your conversations going in the chats. I know y'all like to do that in the comments. But if you have direct questions that you want me to ask him, please ask them in the put them in the question box. I'm trying to get better about the programming here. Okay. All right. So originally from New York City, James Anthony is a mass communications bachelor's degree alum from Savannah State University and a former competitive track and field athlete that still trains today. After honing his photography, animation, and video production skills in the Big Apple, he expanded his career to Atlanta, Georgia. There, James cultivated his photography skills, shooting fashion spreads and cover shoots for global brands and magazines. James Anthony's photographs are clean and alluring, which has led to his booming success in the fashion and entertainment industries. His works have been showcased in global publications and campaigns. James Anthony's career keeps him traveling the world, shooting models, celebrities, editorial spreads, and campaigns. He is also the world-renowned creator of hashtag JamesShootsAndDraws, a captivating and award-winning original concept by James. So, super excited. Let's bring my brother, literally, because he's my frat brother, James Anthony, into the room. Clap it up for him. Give him some hearts. Give him some hearts in the building, y'all. Give him some hearts. Show the man some love. Yo, what's up, man?
Yo, what's up?
It's good to see your face. How you doing?
Likewise. Look, appreciate the introduction for one. And I'm not sure if you got a hookup with Andis Clippers, but
yeah.
Something, please.
Yo, this is a problem. Yo, I'm looking crazy, brother.
Look, you looking good in black.
Yo, exactly. All blacked out everywhere.
I'll say this: just be blessed. You still got your hairline. A lot of us ain't got it.
You know what? That part. Okay, so I am grateful for that. I'm grateful that it's all, we're all here, but still, man, this thing needs to be lined up. I'm sending my barber a text after this. Like every now and then I'm like, bro, I miss you. Just like, I miss you, man. Like,
hold on, let me raise this up. Hold on, somebody. I see a Pooja in here. What's up, bro?
What's up, Pooja? What's up, brother? All the frats in the building. Pooja, I'm trying to book you, right? Okay, we'll talk about that later.
Maybe that'll work.
You good?
I'm good. Had to raise that up a little bit.
Okay, yeah, that's better. Much better. How you feeling, man?
I'm good. Just dealing with this quarantine, trying to stay productive, trying to stay creative, trying to stay sane. But it's given me, as well as I'm sure a lot of us, just some time for introspection and just kind of reorganize and reevaluating of a lot of things. So yeah, it's been cool just because it kind of makes you reevaluate the things that are most important,
Yes, absolutely. And I think, that introspection time, everybody's not ready for that. Everybody don't want to sit with themselves, you know what I'm saying? But it is the season to do that, and just kind of to get some things in order. So that's what I've been focused on, and I've been talking to a lot of creatives, just kind of focused on the back end of their worlds, whether it's their portfolio, whether it's improving some of their skill sets, some of those things. So how have you been actively kind of making use of this time?
All right, so actively. Time it's kind of like my time at home. I've been able to like a lot of visual creators. It's been a great time to catch up on edits and just sitting down in front of the computer. So Photoshop, Adobe Premiere with the like I'm going back in throwback travel footage and making just travel videos. I got a video I'm about to put out featuring good brother Omari Hardwick, and it was behind the scenes of his one-man show that he put up in New York. I see Pooja put jump rope in. But yeah, and that's another thing too. after a while, I was like, yo, I don't want to come out of this quarantine with regrets as far as like, oh, I just let myself go. So keeping myself challenged physically so that way it trickles up to the mental. It
Yes.
part of the process. But there's been times where, you know, as well as keeping the social distancing, I've linked up with some creative shooters. Shout out to Eric. Shout out to Tavis, Brian. We'll link up at night and do night shoots and just kind
Okay.
of advantage of the city being desolate and just it's been cool in that regard. So been able to play around with a lot of camera tricks as far as photography is concerned. Bioluminescence, the waves came out about a week and a half ago. So I
Wait,
was
what
able
is
to.
that? What are you talking about? What is that?
So if you look at maybe within the last 6 posts on my page, it's this phenomenon that kind of comes around every year, and it's when there's these photoplankton that light up at night to like this neon blue once they're agitated. So it was cool to see that. I'm a big science head and I went to the beach 3 nights in a row just to capture different footage. So being out in LA has been, you know, I'm New York born and then East Coast born, spent time in Maryland, came down to Georgia. But that is one of the coolest things about living in LA, where you have such versatility in the landscape. And
Yeah.
just celebrated May 1st was 2 years since been out here, so it's been cool.
Oh, 2 years now?
Yeah, man.
Okay. All right, man. How's
Look,
that? How?
I remember when we first met was in New York.
Yeah.
Like I'm sitting at a coffee shop, and I always tell people that in order to make the best out of situations that you won't even know where their lead is, kind of never be afraid to open your mouth. So whenever I'm in a Uber pool or if I'm in a coffee shop, I'm never afraid to just open my mouth and speak to the next person because you never know who that person may be. So I remember sitting at this coffee spot in Harlem.
Harlem, yes.
You looked like you were handling some business and you just on the
Usually.
phone. So I'm like, what does this cat do? So I'm looking over and I see your computer and I'm like, what does he do? So I asked you, I'm like, yo, so what are you involved in? He was like, I do everything. You know, I'm director, creator. So I'm like, all right, cool. Ever since then, we've worked on maybe 2 or 3 projects since then,
Yes,
and
we
we
have.
realized we know a lot of the same people in the creative world. So it's just been cool, like you said, to kind of watch each one another kind of thrive and evolve.
Yes, man. Yes, man. And you've evolved very much, man. Like, I mean, even back then, I don't think you were drawing. Well, I mean, not in a public
Right.
space. You know
I
what I'm
don't think,
saying?
yeah, I don't think back then I was messing around with James Shoots and Draws. Illustrating was sketching. That was the first thing I ever picked up. You know,
Really?
somebody said I don't speak English in the Uber pool, and I get it. A lot of people are like, yo, don't talk to me, don't look at me, I don't want to. But I'm amazing people. Some people like before the pandemic, I would head to the airport at least 2 times a month, and usually from downtown LA to the airport is about a 25-minute ride, and a lot of times you get involved in these conversations with the drivers. So by the time I'm getting out, they're like, yo, what's your IG? And, you know, we're swapping contacts. And I met some pretty cool people who I'm still in contact with to this day. So, again, I'm never afraid to open my mouth. And if the conversation is going awry, I just
See,
shut it.
yeah, I'm not with the Uber pool. I really am out my window, minding my business. I don't really want to do it, but I love that. Would you give me an example of how that's worked in your favor for even booking jobs or whatever else? Because you are one of those people who's just kind of like, you know, you're approachable and you approach people. So how has that worked in your interest?
How does it work in my interest? Um, I know there's people that have emailed me and they're like, yo, I'm not sure if you remember me, but we met at Starbucks a year and a half ago, and I have a friend who's coming out with this line, and they were looking for a dope visual artist, so I thought of you, so I want to connect the dots. And I'm like, yo, see, this is a prime example of why you should never be afraid to open your mouth. they always say closed mouths don't get fed, but a lot of times, and also I got this piece of advice too. Never be afraid to share your dreams with people or your intentions, because you never know who is hearing. You know what I'm saying? Like you could say, I could have a conversation with somebody in this group, and or somebody in this group could hear something that I'm aspiring to do. I could get a DM in 20 minutes and be like, yo, I actually know somebody that could help facilitate you on your journey. So it's one of those things where you got to speak things into existence. I believe that 110%. Closed mouths don't get fed. I say that to myself every day. So a lot of times you kind of got to set your pride aside and let people know what your intentions are.
Yes. And I think sometimes a lot of people don't do that out of fear too. Like the fear of, like if I say it, then I almost got to do it, and I'd rather just do it than say it. But there's also a part of it, like you're saying, you speak these things into existence. You put it out there, and that's actually what does make it come to fruition.
Facts. My
Yeah.
mother, one of the first things that I was involved in was theater when I was younger. And I used to always go on auditions and stuff like that. And my mother, one of the things she told me, she was like, hey, you're going to go on auditions and people are going to say you're not good enough or you're not right for the part. Get used to hearing no's. Just get used to that. So that way it's not such a kick to the chest when you hear it. And that's one of those things where it's like, even with that fear of kind of voicing your dreams and aspirations, some people won't get it. It's not for them. But there will be somebody that it sparks something within them where they can either be inspired to do something of their own, which in turn will inspire you, because the whole saying, inspire while you aspire. I'm a firm believer in that too, because a lot of times, and I've experienced this a lot within the last 4 years, where after X amount of time of inspiring so many other people, you can look at their progress and then in turn be inspired
Be
again.
inspired by,
You know what I'm saying? Be inspired by the people who you inspired. And I think there's so much power in that. And it shows you how cyclical things are. And then just kind of keep that 360, keep that 360 going.
Yes, that's a word, Apuje says. That is definitely a word. Okay. All right, cool. So back then, whenever I first met you, around that time, like, were you already shooting? The first like celebrity shoot I remember you having, or that stands out to me, was the Vanessa Simmons, like Brooklyn Bridge, right? Or Angela, my bad, my bad.
Yeah, Angela
My
Simmons.
bad.
No, shout out Angela. Look, I just posted yesterday was Flag Day for Haiti, so I'm not Haitian, but the last time I went to Haiti was with Angela Simmons, and we had an amazing time. So I posted that video, so shout out to Ange. But yeah, I can honestly say, and I don't know if Bevy Smith is in here, but shout out to her too, because
Yes.
what was it? What was the show that she had with Derek J?
Fashion Queens?
Fashion Queens.
Yes.
Fashion Queens featured the shoot that I did with Angela Simmons on the Brooklyn Bridge. And
Yes.
a highlight for me, just to see it on TV, and that shoot was a passion project. And I told Angela, I was like, yo, would you be down for the shoot? I wanted to use a model, but I think it would be even more impactful if you jumped in front of the lens for it. She was like, all right, I'm down. Me and the creative director, we kind of did our location scouting the day before. My boy Brian Summers is in here. He assisted on the shoot and did this dope ass behind the scenes video to that shoot. I'll probably post later on today. But yeah, that shoot started as a passion project. Shout out to Ro Morgan Hair. He was a hairstylist on the project. Shout out to Douglas Hickman. He was the wardrobe stylist on that project, and everyone else involved. But it was a 2-day shoot, and that shoot, I submitted it to Uptown Magazine, which is no longer, but I submitted that to Uptown Magazine. They featured it as an editorial, as an insert. And then shortly after, they actually like threw me some chump change just to feature it. And then about 4 or 5 months later, they hit me up. They said, hey, would you mind shooting a cover? We like what you submitted a few months back. And they had me shoot Ricky Smiley at his home in Alabama for the cover.
I remember that.
For me, the snowball started rolling. And then after I did the Ricky Smiley cover, he loved it. It went well. That was televised. And then they hit me up and said, how would you like to come to Great Exuma, Bahamas and shoot our wedding and travel spread that we do every year? And to me, that was a highlight, to go from a passion project that I submitted with the hope to get featured. They liked that enough to say, yo, can you come back and shoot a cover? And then that cover did well. And then they said, hey, how about we take you? And I'll never forget that too, because it ran simultaneously, the shoot in Bahamas. It was the weekend of my homecoming in college. And I was like, damn, I wanted to go to homecoming. But it was one of those things like, yo, I'm out here. The dream homecoming can wait. So,
exactly. There'll be another homecoming.
Right.
Wow, that's amazing. That, I mean, and again, there's so much to say about that, about the fact that it was a passion project that you put together, you rallied all the people, but then that paid off and then just snowballed you into, a lot of other opportunities.
Right, right.
Would you say that's something that you do often? Like, I mean, even in your creative process, is it like client or idea? Like, and I know it can come both ways, but for you, it feels like there are a lot of ideas that you put out there and then people fill in the gaps for your ideas.
Mark Moss, I'm reading this comment right here. You never know where the blessing will come from. I'm a firm believer in that too. And CJ, I still do that to this day. It's like I'll think of a project or two things that inspire me the most: music and music videos, like movies, just visuals. So I can listen to music and it can inspire me to think of a concept for a shoot. And then from there, I'll hop on, the internet or Pinterest and just kind of find visual references for the ideas I kind of want to bring to life. Shout out to Apuje, because he was one that kind of got me together with my concept boards back in the day. And, I still use those in a little bit. But, yeah, man, the kind of creating projects, staying creative is what attracts other businesses or entities or people to want to work with me for different things. So during this whole quarantine, it's been a point of mine to kind of stay creative, because I said this once before, but the more creative I am, the more money I make. Just because, in a sense, where's the correlation? It's not overnight, but the more creative you can, the more multifaceted you can show that you are, the more people want to work with you. I've had people tell me they wanted to work with me because I wasn't just a photographer, and I was incredibly grateful for that. But they were looking for an artist in some way. So, what not being afraid to kind of venture out and do with social media has kind of opened many doors for me. And so the things that I may think of just being a passion project for me, once that's complete, a lot of times it may attract another brand to want to get the same type of project for whatever they're working on. So, the James Shoots and Draws, that was fun. And then I was like, yo, James Shoots and Draws, let's kind of add some movement to this. And that's when the stop motion started coming around. So Snoop just posted the one I did of him for 420. And that was cool. It was even cool how it happened.
Please tell me.
So, all right. So this is about to be a little deep story.
Okay.
I'll try to make it quick. But I'm doing Shoots and Draws, and I was like, you know what? I want to do one for 420. I know Uncle Snoop. He'll rock with this. So I did the Shoots and Draws stop motion video with Snoop. I walk up to this mural that I created, and I did create it, but I created it digitally and then imposed it on the wall. And then I light a match, and then I light his blunt. He takes a puff. So I sent it to him, and via DM, of course, he got, 25 million followers, 15 million followers. And you always got to be smart about the connections that you have, and Anthony Anderson follows me, right? Anthony Anderson is always reposting Snoop, all the funny posts that he does. So After I did this 420 post, I sent it to Anthony Anderson via DM with no context. I didn't say anything. And then a few days later, I saw that he read it. And I was like, dang, he read it, but he ain't said nothing. But that was my fault. And this is a lesson to y'all. So I'm going to teach y'all. I'm going to drop a gem. Always do, like everything that you do, just make sure there's intent behind it. And make sure that you are very clear about what your intentions are. I sent that to him, but I didn't say anything. And I remember a conversation I had with a couple of friends, other creatives, where it's like, yo, we have to be mindful that when we interact with people on social media, that we're not so far removed for how we interact in real life. Meaning, don't just send somebody a DM without introducing yourself or greeting yourself or saying hello, or just like, hey, how you doing? I wanted to do this, do that. I sent that DM to Anthony Anderson. No context. I didn't say anything, just with the hopes that he would share it. And then shortly after that, maybe about a week and a half, 2 weeks later, I was like, yo, I just sent that. Like, why don't I revisit that? So I was like, yo, let's be more intentional with this. I sent it to him again, but then I wrote the message like, hey, bro, actually, I'm going to read it to you. I'm going to read this to you. So I really,
yes.
I'm going to read this to you. And I'm doing this is because these are things that I learned along the way that have helped me in so many different avenues as far as any business that you're trying to get involved with. But I had told Anthony, I said, hey, Anthony, hope all is well. I wanted to know if you wouldn't mind sending this to Snoop. Just trying to stay creative throughout this whole quarantine. He said, yo, I texted it to him and I sent him a DM. And I was like, damn, like he went over and beyond. I said, much appreciated. And then he said, did he follow you? And I was like, yo, he followed me and reposted it. And I said, he showed love. That's major, man. I appreciate you. He said, it's all good, my brother. It's what we're supposed to do. The only difference between me sending the DM the first time and the second time is that I followed up with intention. Like, yo, let me, and you got to think about this too. All these followers that people get, and all the DMs from random people. I mean, I even get DMs from random people I do not know, and you cannot respond to everybody.
Everyone.
And everybody wants something, but it's like if you can show that you are reputable as far as you're good at what you do, and I'm pretty sure it only helped that he was already following me, but. The only difference made, state your intentions and be purposeful in all your actions. Because, look, I've been doing this for over 10 years, but it was a reminder that, don't slip on your game. Because networking is one of my strongest attributes, but also do not slip on your game. So, yeah, I'm just sharing that.
I love that. I love that. The power of intention. And also, I think another big thing with you also is initiative. Like, cause you're taking the initiative to do these things, even with the Vanessa thing. Like, wait, Angela. Sorry, sorry. I love you, Angela. I don't mean it. But yeah, even with the Angela thing, even with this thing, you were very, you took the initiative to make these things happen, even though you were doing them in your own space. No one commissioned you to do these things. These are things that you were actually just kind of like, you know what? Here, take this. What about this? I love that.
Yeah, it's one of those things where nothing happens overnight, and people that are like, I've literally heard people in casual conversation like, man, I'm just waiting for something great to happen, and I'm like,
waiting? What
is that? Like, you got to get out there and get your feet dirty and make stuff happen. So it's like, and stop expecting the overnight. Like I have background in track and field, and I ran cross country. And one of the things when I first started running, like most people, they start running track wanting to be a sprinter. Not everybody's a sprinter. I realized that I had endurance, and my coach realized, you know what? You got a good trail leg. I'm gonna make you do hurdles, but I'm gonna make you run some mileage because I think you may be good for the 800. After that, I started training middle distance and going on the distance runs, became co-captain of the cross-country team. All that to say is not everything is a sprint. Sometimes things are marathons. So you can't go out here and put out work and be like, yo, nothing happened the way I thought it was going to happen as quickly as I thought it was going to happen. You just got to be consistent. So because people will always see consistency. I mean, that's like real life. People will always see consistency. So if you are posting and posting, and I'm making reference to likes because we're on Instagram, but if you're posting and posting and you get 2 likes, 4 likes, after a while, those 2 likes, 4 likes with the consistency is going to turn into 200 likes, 300. You just can't expect it overnight. So that's one of the things that I've definitely I'm okay with. You know, I'll do a creative project for myself and may not see any like fire traction the next day or 2 days, and then next thing you know, a week and a half later, I get an email, or even a month later, oh, I saw this project you did a month back, and I'm like, oh damn, like I didn't know it reached many people. And one of those things, like, you never know who's looking. Of course, everything that goes on the internet will be there forever because somebody screenshotted it, somebody saved it. So just know that any body of work that you put out there will always be there. So just make sure you stay consistent and stay progressing, just because you can be consistent but be shitty. You know what I'm saying? So be consistent but be also wanting to always evolve as an artist, as a creative.
Yo, you just came up here to drop gems, huh?
Hey man, how I've been thriving, man. This has been a challenging time for a lot of people, but I'm grateful. I'll shout out to Pooja. Watching his growth over the years is inspiring. Again, we essentially all started together, but moving out to LA and kind of throwing myself into this new network, it's been crazy motivating to me, man. It's and one of the things that I had to realize, I mean, I've realized this a while back, but I want to share this, is just like, yo, y'all have probably heard this, but you have to run your own race, because if you're running a race and you're looking at the other person's spikes, they're gonna get out the blocks before you. So it's like, you really can't do this whole entrepreneurship thing, or any dream for that matter, with you consistently comparing yourself to someone else. So there was a point in time where this was just me, but there was a point in time where I couldn't follow certain people because I didn't want to be influenced by them whatsoever. And it was just like, I wanted all my ideas to feel like they were mine and not subconsciously being influenced by someone else. I mean, and I get influence is cool. It makes, I mean, all artists are influenced by someone, but there's sometimes where you want to take a step back and not be so influenced by the people in your immediate circle, because everybody in your circle is influenced by the people that came before us or before them. But a lot of times it can be a real touchy subject if you're too close to somebody, you know, so in arm's reach. So I like to give people respect. Like, I remember, here's another one, Derek Blanks, when Derek Blanks is the alter ego.
Alter ego, yeah.
He didn't come up with it, but he finessed it so that it was his. And just like I didn't come up with merging illustration and photography together, I found a way to finesse it to kind of make it mine. When I was in Atlanta, people used to always hit me up. Yo, could you do a alter ego shoot for me? I reached out to Derek Blanks and he's charging a lot. And he was charging this. Like, how much would you charge? And I'm like, damn, he's charging that. And this is kind of in my beginning stages. And I'm like, damn, if I charge a fraction of that, I could eat good. But I knew that integrity as being an artist is so important. I declined every offer, which was always at least more than 10, but I declined all of them because I'm like, yo, we're in the same circle. I'm not about to fuck shit up. You know what I'm saying? Like, not trying to make a name for yourself. So I was like, you know, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be the photographer although the money could benefit my pockets, but that's something that he kind of just made his own. And we were both in Atlanta. I'm like, what would I look like? So I was like, nah, I'm good. So it's one of those things where always kind of just want to stay true to your vision and the things that you want.
I love the fact that you mentioned integrity as an artist. But another thing that you mentioned a few times is, you were talking about your network and other creatives that you collaborate with. You've mentioned a Pooja a lot in here. Talk to me about the importance of like your creative network and collaborating with other creatives.
Creative network. I like to be around people I'm inspired by, and even if there's not an opportunity for us to directly work hand in hand, I still like to be in the room with my homies who are music producers, to be in there and watch them create a beat on the spot and just be, I'm like, yo, it makes me want to go home and listen to music and then conceptualize my next shoot. But the importance of keeping a strong network, I feel like the stronger my network is, the stronger I am. Even if I
Ooh.
don't use them like like immediately in the future, you never know who else may hit you up and be like, yo, I need a graphic designer. I got you, hold on. Yo, I need a dope wardrobe stylist. I got you, hold on. Yo, I need an animator. I got you, hold on. I love being able to do that, and I love being able to connect the dots. And it's one of those things where, yo, if you're thinking of somebody to connect the dots for a project that you may not even be involved in, hopefully someone will be doing the same for you. So again, putting out the energy that you want to receive is also very important. I feel like when we watch Diddy, when we watch Jay-Z, Mary J. Blige, Andre Harrell, these are people that came up together. And I always look at them, I'm like, yo, I want to be part of the next generation, the next wave of creatives that say, yo, you remember when we were back in Atlanta and we used to think like legitimate,
Yeah.
like Apuja and I can say that. Like, you remember our first shoot with this person, or you remember when we was grinding and hustling? You can say that with dope creatives. Again, coming out to LA and I'm looking at people. LA is full of a lot of transplants for obvious reasons, but being able to cut on a TV show and see, yo, that's my homie dancing behind J-Lo, or, oh, yo, that's my homie dancing or singing behind Beyonce, and, like, yo, my homie is the creative director for this whole Grammy performance.
Yo, it's lit,
It's
right?
an empowering feeling. Memsor,
Yeah,
what's up,
yeah.
man?
What's up, Mimsor?
Short story with Memsor. I used to intern at Vibe magazine in 2006. I remember I took a semester to intern in a photo department. It was for unpaid internship in a photo department. It's kind of where I fell in love with editorial photography. But Memsor was, I believe, the fashion director over
Yes.
at Vibe magazine during the time. And it was one of those things where I fell in love. I was like, yo, if I ever had to work for someone, I could see myself working for a publication like Vibe because it was cool. You can come to work, look how you want to look, and it was one of those things where it's like, yo, you can come to work, just do your job, and it was cool. So I remember always seeing Memsor. We never really had engagement just because I was an intern in two different departments, but that photo shoot that I did in Bahamas, Memsor was cool with the creative team that was there. So he ended up coming down to Bahamas and we kicked it and we just all had a good time. But it was one of those full circle moments where I was like, I'm chilling
Yeah.
with you. Like literally, I should be like, yo, it's crazy. Again, some things I feel like the universe will kind of give you a taste of something and then bring you the entree later on. So it's kind of cool just to be. It's like reassurance, like you're on the right path, you know?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Give you a taste of something, then come back
Yeah.
around. Ooh, I love that. Um, okay, bro, let's talk about your style. Like, I mean, in terms of like the James Shoots and Draws, how did that come about? Like, your photography is amazing, it's beautiful, but then what made you want to take it to the next level of artistry? Because it's like, it's now art. I mean, it's always been art, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think for me, well, for one, illustrating, drawing was the first thing I ever picked up. That was the first thing I ever started doing. And I remember the first person I did a shoots and draws with was Lala Anthony. And this was maybe 2011. So almost 10 years ago. And I did it. It was for a feature in Control magazine. Didn't really feel it. Like I did one image from a spread that I did and kind of just left it alone. And then I remember about a year or two, maybe 2 years later, I went to Joshua Tree Desert, and there's an image of me jumping up in the air, and there was a illustrated balloon that I was hanging on to. And I remember when I did that, I just got a lot of positive feedback. And I was like, man, that's pretty cool. You know, you kind of want to stick with what works. And it just, from that moment on, I felt like, oh, it doesn't have to just be photography, because I was going through this phase where I would look at other photographers' pages, and you'd come across some photographers who don't even show their face because it's just about their work.
Mm-hmm.
And well, maybe I need to start doing that. Maybe I just need to be that photographer where I just show my work. And then you come across other photographers' pages where they have a feel for their whole page, like every image or post has a color treatment, like their whole page has a color palette. Then I was like, well, maybe I need to be that photographer. And I was like, nah, because I go so many different places from cold to warm. The color temperature is different sometimes. So there's
Yeah.
no, yeah, staying like making it uniform if it doesn't fit. So it's like I was trying to fit in this box
Ooh.
of like, oh, let me be a photographer that does it like this, or let me be a photographer that does it like that. But then one person had a conversation with someone one time. They were like, yo, you don't understand. Like a lot of times people, they're not booking you for the photography, but booking you for the person behind the camera, the brand. And
Mm.
it just made me start thinking about things differently. So after a lot of conversations and just thinking about things, I started saying, yo, why am I putting myself in this box? I'm not just a photographer. That's not the first thing I started doing. You know, so I was like, I know how to draw. Um, and I just wanted to have more fun and kind of bring some variety to my work. And once I started doing that, that was crazy. Yeah, I remember I did one with Monica, and shortly after that, Toyota had hit me up, wanted me to, it was inquiring about me doing something for Art Basel. Um, I did one with Lil Mama, and that was my most popular James Shoots and Draws. But just from that, from Shoots and Draws, and again being able to, actually, I'll say this: from me doing James Shoots and Draws, I landed three. Actually, I landed my three of my biggest paying gigs was through James Shoots and Draws,
Right.
and that's something that came on later. So photography, yeah, but James Shoots and Draws landed me three of my biggest career gigs. Thank you to crowd management
Shout
for
out EJ.
facilitate all that. EJ Lee, uh, like crowd management has been amazing to me just because it's one of those things where I say being an artist is cool, and when you can solely focus on just being a creative, it allows you to be stronger in that arena.
Yes.
So yeah, Pooja, shout out ABFF. I was able to do the step and repeat for American Black Film Festival honors in 2017. I was able to uh, do the inaugural. Well, it was the first year anniversary of the African American History Museum in DC. That was big for me. And then more recently, last year, ORS, I was able to do a hair campaign with Olive Oil Hair Brand. And it was shout out
And
to
all
Dion.
and all of
What
this
was
is
that?
James Shoots and Draws, right?
Yeah, all this is from pretty much from that. So it's been,
That's
I'm
beautiful
grateful,
and
man.
brilliant. That's beautiful and brilliant. And I think it speaks to the fact of like just kind of again being authentic and true to yourself as well as your gifts.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because that was always a gift of yours. And instead of trying to fit in these boxes of like, oh, they're doing it like this, they're doing it like this, the moment you were like, you know what? Let me do what I do is the
Right.
moment that the door started to open in a whole nother
Right.
way for you.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
That's beautiful, bro. That's beautiful. Okay. Um, do you see yourself? Okay, so you're creating art now. Always been creating art to some degree, but you're creating art in your own. Like, do you see yourself in a gallery? Like, what's the next phases for you in that regard? I know you're also working on a short film as well, right? or you have a
Yeah,
short
the
film?
short film was done. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, Rona out here shutting people down. So we got to for for all this madness to end, for us to resume as normal. Shout out to Apuja. I reached out to the homie. I was like, yo, this is my first short. Apuja was the costumer, so appreciate that.
Yo,
Um,
collaborating. Find your network of creators. I love that you brought Apuja up. This should have been you and Apuja's interview. I love that. No, because you brought him up multiple times, but it's just the importance. And again, he's growing in his own right. You're growing your own right, but you guys are able to come together and bring each other and build each other up. And I just want to put a bookmark there just because I want everyone to pay attention to the fact that it is about finding your network of creatives and of collaborators that you guys can kind of build each other. So that's
but
super
look,
important.
he just took the words in my mouth because my boy Eric Sire, he's in here. Eric and I just had a conversation. It's so important and imperative to find your tribe. It
Mm.
is, I mean, none of us got here alone, especially us. Like, none of us got here alone. We come from tribes. We flourish and thrive as a whole when we're collectively strong. So I think that's, and then the crazy thing is the relationships are organic. They were never forced in a sense where it's like, let me make sure, we stay in It was just like, yo, like, you're dope. Like, so shout out to Eric because I just had the conversation with him. But yeah, finding a tribe is extremely important, man. It again, I always tell people I feel like a superhero because of all the dope creative friends that I have, and I feel like they're superheroes. You know,
Yes.
I got this one homie who lives in Brazil, David Wilson. A
David
lot of people,
Wilson, he's all of our homies.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, right, right. A lot of people know David, but David is one of those people who, if he says, "Yo, I want you to come to this lunch. I want to introduce you to some people," just be there.
Be
Just be there.
there. Yes.
Every single person David has ever introduced me to has been somebody that I took a mental note of, like, yo, thank you for the introduction. And he always prefaces an introduction by accolades. Like, he'll run down your resume, even if you don't want him to. He'll be like, CJ is this and that and that. I want you to meet James. James is this and that and that. You guys go play. And David, I always shout out David. I'm like, David, your energy. I
It's
love that.
amazing.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
important. You keep hearing me list these names because they're solid people. So yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And I love that. And I love that. Yo, okay, so we only got like 7 minutes left. Time goes so fast. But I want to know, what is your favorite image that you've created?
Ooh, that's
Ooh, so
ooh.
many.
Look, I would be an ass. I'm like, my favorite image is one that I haven't created yet. Nah, but nah, but I think you
What you
damn.
looking at?
Look, hold on. I won't say it's my favorite image, but is one of my favorite. But the crazy thing is, this was intentionally a recreation. But I
Yeah,
had so much fun doing this with Angela Simmons. We tried to
that was one of my favorites. You guys also did Sade, right?
yeah, with the
And
Sade.
Beyonce. Dangerous.
It
Wait,
was it was just one of my favorite projects because although it was in honor of Janet, it allowed me to have fun with James Shoots and Draws, but it also allowed me to test my skill as a photographer to be able to look at Janet's photo and just study it and be able to detect like what lighting would be best for me to recreate that. So it was like, you know, it was a good exercise as a visual artist and as a photographer, merging those skills. And then also, I was that whole shoot was filmed on Grown Up on Hip Hop, so it was like I kind of had a dope project with Angela a few years prior. We're good friends. Her son was there. She came out to LA. She referred me for the gig again. That first project was passion, and you fast forward, and she's like, "Yo, I know the perfect photographer." And then she's putting money in my pocket, so I'm like, that was
yes.
again, it's not my favorite, but it was. I printed it out. It's in my house, so.
So it's one of your favorites. I love that. Your passion will lead you to your profit. I love that.
Yeah. Yes,
It's
there you
definitely a
go.
passion over profit thing, but passion will get you where you need to go. I love that. Okay, bro, we only got like 5 minutes. I want to do a quick game of, well, first off, you know what? You mentioned something earlier that you're into music videos. What's your favorite music video of all time?
Woo!
Ooh.
Probably Janet Michael Jackson Scream.
Oh, okay. Boom. Of course. I love that. I love that. Okay, so I want to do a quick game of either or with you. You ready?
Yeah.
In studio or on location?
Location.
New York or LA?
Oh, New York is home, but LA this weather. Ugh. New York.
Okay, thank you. Black and white or color?
Color.
Film or digital?
Film.
Hulu or Netflix?
Netflix.
Shooting or drawing?
Shooting.
Okay. Compassion or tough love?
Ooh, damn, these are good. Compassion.
Uber or Lyft?
Lyft. Yo, if you link your Lyft and your Delta Sky Miles, for every dollar you spend with Lyft, they will give you a Sky Mile.
Yes, you better be a Lyft ambassador.
Yeah.
Comedy or horror?
Comedy.
Carry on or check bag?
I didn't hear the first one.
Carry on or check bag?
Carry on. I like my shit with me.
Obama or Oprah?
Obama.
You didn't even blink. Like what? Like most people, they flinch for a minute. No?
Nah. It's Obama.
Okay, I love it. Late night or early morning?
Ooh. Late night or early morning? Late night.
Call or text?
Text.
Late night text. I love it. Okay. Last thing. Last thing, brother. Last thing. Leave the people with a quote to live by or the best piece of advice you've ever been given.
I'd probably have to say I've referenced The Alchemist. Anything you want in the universe, and this is paraphrasing, but anything you want is out there. The universe will conspire to give you all that you want and desire. You just have to walk in the path in order to attain it. Because a lot of people say they want this, but they never actively create the blueprint on how to get there. So the universe will give you whatever you want, but you have to walk on that path. So yeah.
Woo!